In a village forgotten between the mountains and time, where the seasons followed the rhythm of the wind and smiles bore the scars of silent battles, lived a man named Kusho. No one knew exactly how old he was. His eyes, deeply calm, carried the weight of someone who had seen too much. Kusho didn't speak much. He walked slowly, hands clasped behind his back, barefoot even in winter. But whenever a lost soul knocked on his door, he listened closely and offered something no one else did: clarity. The village, surrounded by worn-out fields and weathered wooden houses, was a place where hope seemed to slip through the cracks in the doors. Businesses were failing, marriages falling apart, young people growing sick with anxiety before even turning 30. It was as if an invisible cloud had settled there, draining energy, money, and dreams. It wasn't unusual to see villagers going to Kusho. Some sought advice, others a kind word, but they always left with the same expression: restrained surprise and a renewed spark in their eyes. There was a whisper among the village elders: Kusho has a secret, but he only reveals it when he truly senses you're ready. Some said it was an ancient tea. Others spoke of a rare prayer passed down through generations. But Kusho never denied nor confirmed anything. He would simply smile, close his eyes, and murmur, "Not everything needs to be hard. Sometimes the answer is where no one looks." Until one day, something different happened. A widowed woman, mother of two, appeared crying in the central square. She said that for the third time, her salary had vanished before the middle of the month, that her children were sick, that she woke up exhausted and went to bed, afraid. Desperate, she climbed the small hill where Kusho's house stood. Hours later, she came back down, head held high, carrying only a basin of water and a small amber glass bottle with vinegar. The next day, the unexpected. The same woman showed up at the market laughing, with her children running around her. One of the vendors murmured, "She went to Kusho, didn't she?" She just answered with a smile. And then she said, "Just wash your feet, that's it, but with intention, and vinegar." From that day on, dozens made their way up to old Kusho's house. But he didn't receive everyone, only those who, according to him, carried more weight on their shoulders than in their pockets. No one understood. Why wash your feet with vinegar? What did that change? Was it just a strange ritual, or was there something deeper behind it? And it was exactly that mystery that drew Hiroshi. A young man with a worn-out face, trembling hands, and eyes silently crying for help. He didn't want wealth. He wanted peace, that's all. But he no longer knew where to begin. Hiroshi's journey begins now, and maybe it might spark something in you too. Hiroshi woke up every day in the dark, even when the sun had already poured into the room. It wasn't just exhaustion. It was as if his body already knew what the day held, and resisted. The bed was the last place where silence still lived. But he got up. Always. Because giving up, though tempting, felt like a kind of cowardice he still couldn't afford. He was 28 years old, had 2 degrees nobody wanted to read, and debts that just kept growing. Rent was overdue, the fridge made more echo than noise, and his phone only rang to demand payment. But it wasn't just the money. It was his mind, a restlessness that wouldn't quit, a constant hum he couldn't shut off. Inside, Hiroshi carried the feeling of always being wrong, like there was a secret code for life that everyone else had received except him. It was like trying to put together a puzzle with pieces from different games, and the most painful part was that he couldn't explain what he felt. Not to his mother, who said, "Pray and it'll pass." Not to his friends, who had slowly disappeared, and least of all to himself, who looked in the mirror each night with a question that hurt. What am I doing wrong? That week, his stomach twisted over anything. His head felt dipped in wet cotton, and his chest was heavy. That's when he first heard about Kusho, a casual conversation in the bakery line, two older women talking. Can you believe Mariko's son got a job? After he did the vinegar thing, right? Hiroshi laughed to himself. How could something so simple change so much? Vinegar? Feet? It had to be a joke. But that same night, when the power was cut and the silence turned into a scream, he typed into Google, "Vinegar, ritual, feet, energy." None of it made sense, but for some reason it stuck in his head. The next day he woke up before the alarm, and without really knowing why, he started walking toward the highest part of the village, where the so-called Kusho lived. The path was made of dirt, lined with tall bamboo and the sound of crickets. Even under the morning sun, his heart was racing, not from fear, but from a new feeling, a mix of desperation and hope. Maybe that was all he had left. When he arrived, Kusho was sitting on the porch, eyes closed, as if he already knew he was coming. "Sit down," he said without opening his eyes. Hiroshi obeyed. For a while, neither of them said anything, until finally, with a trembling voice, he let it slip. "I can't take it any more. I feel drained, stuck, trapped." He paused, stared at the ground, and added, "What should I do?" Kusho opened his eyes slowly, eyes that seemed to see through layers. There was no judgment in them, only understanding. And then he replied, "When the body gets sick, the mind has been screaming for a long time. And when the mind screams, it's because the soul has been forgotten. You need to remember who you are." Hiroshi frowned, confused. Kusho stood up, went into the house, and returned with a small clay basin. He handed it to Hiroshi and simply said, "Tonight, white vinegar, warm water, coarse salt. Wash your feet," in silence. Then he sat back down, closing his eyes once again. Hiroshi stood there for a moment, as if he'd just received a sentence too strange to ignore, but too powerful to doubt. The basin looked ordinary, rustic clay, unadorned, with small cracks that seemed to tell their own stories. But in Hiroshi's hands, it felt different, as if the contents not yet there already carried something invisible, a force, a warning. That night, for the first time in months, Hiroshi turned off his phone before going to bed. He closed the bedroom door, lit a candle, and sat on the floor. Warm water filled the basin with a light steam. He poured in the white vinegar without knowing the exact amount, just trusting his instinct. Then 3 handfuls of coarse salt. When he dipped his feet in, the shock wasn't from the temperature, it was internal, as if the water was speaking to something inside him. It was just vinegar. But somehow it made sense. A feeling of cleansing that wasn't physical. An ancient memory he didn't even know he had. Awakening. On the porch, Kusho watched the sky, eyes closed, as if he knew exactly what was happening at that moment. This ritual, passed down in silence through generations that never wrote books, wasn't about superstition. It was about reconnection. The vinegar, according to Kusho, carried more than acidity. It dissolved, removed burdens. It was the opposite of stagnation. The coarse salt, a natural purifier known since ancient times for absorbing heavy energy, the kind you don't see, but you feel. And the water, it was liquid memory, capable of holding intentions and returning to the body what it had forgotten to feel. It wasn't just a foot bath. It was a message sent inward, a permission. I'm ready to let go. That night, Hiroshi didn't dream, but he woke up different, as if a layer had been lifted from his shoulders, small but enough to make breathing a little easier. In the morning, he didn't think about magic or coincidence, but something pushed him to repeat the ritual. And he did, for 3 days in a row. On the 4th day, an unexpected call, a temporary job. Simple, but paid in advance. Hiroshi didn't celebrate like someone who had won. He celebrated like someone who had confirmed. And he decided to go back to Kusho's house. "It worked?" asked the old man, already knowing the answer. Hiroshi simply nodded. Kusho smiled, stood up, and handed him a small handwritten note. 3 words, liberation ritual, and he added, "When you understand that it's not about the vinegar, but about what you choose to let go of, that's when everything starts to change." From that point on, Hiroshi kept up the ritual, not as magic, but as a reminder, a point of restarting. And over time, other benefits came: more energy, less anxiety, lightness. Even his gaze began to change. It was as if, little by little, he was remembering who he was before pressure, fear, and failure moved in. This simple ritual, done with intention and consistency, didn't promise miracles, but it delivered something almost no one offers: immediate peace. And that's what so many people forget. Sometimes it's not the world that needs to change. It's the weight you carry inside. And that you can start letting go of today. How many times have you felt like the problem was so big, only something out of the ordinary could help? The ritual Hiroshi learned from Kusho isn't about superstition. It's about intention through simple action. And maybe now you're wondering if it could work for you too. But before we go on and I show you exactly how to apply this process to your own life, answer me one quick thing down in the comments. Have you ever used vinegar for something other than salad? Or better yet, have you ever thought something so ordinary could carry such a powerful potential for transformation? Drop your answer below. I read every comment and love seeing how far this knowledge can travel. And of course, if this content has already touched you in any way, subscribe to the channel now. It shows me that it's worth continuing to share this kind of wisdom that for so long has been ignored, forgotten, or simply hidden. Let's keep going, because the most powerful part is still to come. What few people understand, and what Kusho taught more through silence than words, is that no ritual works if the mind is polluted with thoughts that cancel out your own faith. That's why, before any external result, you need to change what's being repeated inside you. It's not about positive thinking. It's about reprogramming the internal system that, over the years, convinced you that you were born to struggle, not to flow. Kusho called it the voice of dry clay, the one that cracks from within but never allows itself to fall apart. And to break that pattern, he taught something simple but incredibly powerful: visualization paired with identity affirmation. During the foot ritual, or even in the silence of the day, he would ask, "Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and repeat calmly, as if saying something your body needs to hear. I am blessed. I am protected. Abundance flows to me with ease," not as a command, but as a truth that needs to be remembered. By doing this, Hiroshi began to notice small internal shifts. He no longer let automatic thoughts take over his mind. When fear came, he took a deep breath and repeated, "I am safe now, even if the world says otherwise." And over time, that phrase started to echo through his body. The anxiety didn't vanish overnight, but it lost its grip, as if, finally, he was taking control of his own frequency. Science calls this neuroplasticity. Kusho called it tending the garden before the weeds grow. The technique is simple, but demands presence. 3 times a day, for 2 minutes, you pause, close your eyes, breathe, visualize a golden light around you, and repeat phrases that reclaim who you want to be, not who pain made you believe you were. This practice, combined with the physical ritual of cleansing, creates a healing cycle. Cleansing on the outside, restoration on the inside, and the most amazing part, you don't need money or time or spiritual experience. All you need is the will to step out of survival mode. After a week of repeating the practice, Hiroshi woke up and felt something he hadn't in a long time: confidence without a reason, peace without explanation, as if something had clicked back into place. He finally understood what Kusho meant when he said, "You don't need luck. You need to remember what you deserve." And that's exactly what we're going to dive into now. How to do the ritual with the right ingredients, with the right mindset, and turn it into a habit that cleanses, strengthens, and awakens. Kusho's first rule was simple. Don't begin this ritual in a rush. The liberation ritual isn't a bath. It's a dialogue between your body, your mind, and something most people have forgotten, the invisible. To do it properly, you'll need 4 elements. Each one carries an energetic and symbolic purpose. And the power of the ritual lies in the intention you bring to each of them. 1. Clay or glass container, no plastic. Kusho said the container should carry ancestral memory. Clay represents earth, solidity, origin, glass, transparency, purity. Both connect you to the physical element of reality, your roots. 2. Warm water. Water is the conductor. It washes away what no longer belongs to you. The warmth is intentional. It relaxes the nervous system and prepares the body to release. When you submerge your feet, imagine the water dissolving tension, as if every drop is a tiny healer. 3. White vinegar, 2 tablespoons. This is the heart of the mystery. Vinegar, with its natural acidity, has been used for centuries for purification. It's not just about the body, it's about the vibrations that build up throughout the day. Each time you pour in the vinegar, visualize it loosening everything stuck to you. Anger, fear, guilt, failure. It's an invisible cleansing, but deeply felt. 4. Coarse salt, 1 tablespoon. Coarse salt is what seals the intention. It absorbs, it protects. It's as if it creates an invisible barrier between you and what drains your energy. As it dissolves in the water, think, I am being shielded now. I am clean. I am protected. 5. Black peppercorns, 7 grains. This is the least known ingredient, but Kusho used to say it was the spiritual accelerator. Pepper is fire, action, movement. The 7 grains represent the 7 days of the week. It activates the field of luck and sets stagnant energy into motion. As you add it, say in your mind, everything that's stuck begins to flow now. Complete ritual. Step by step, warm the water until it's comfortably warm, not hot. Pour the water into the container. Add the vinegar, salt, and pepper, in that order. Sit in silence, preferably on the floor, with your feet submerged up to the ankles. Take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes and mentally repeat, I release everything that holds me back. I allow the new to enter. I am clean, whole, and ready. Keep your feet in the water for at least 10 minutes. Don't check your phone. Don't talk. Just feel. If negative thoughts come, notice them and let them go. The water will take care of the rest. Afterward, discard the water outside your home, in a plant pot, into the soil, or down a drain, but always with the intention of carrying away what no longer serves. Repeat this ritual for 3 consecutive days, always at the same time. Then keep it up once a week as energetic maintenance. More than just a habit, it becomes an act of self-respect. As Kusho used to say, if you don't cleanse your energy, the world will dirty you its own way. There comes a moment when the preparation is more important than the ritual itself. Kusho would say, the transformation doesn't begin when you dip your feet. It begins when you decide that this time it will be different. Before doing the final ritual, there's preparation, both external and internal. And ignoring it is like trying to plant a seed in dry soil. 1. The right environment. It doesn't need to be luxurious. It needs intention. Choose a place where you won't be interrupted. It can be your bedroom, a corner of the living room, even the backyard, especially if there's contact with nature. The energy of the space shapes the depth of the experience. Turn off the lights if possible. Light a white candle. The candle's flame represents your presence, your decision to be fully there. If you have it, burn lavender, rosemary, or sandalwood incense. These scents calm the mind and heighten perception. The smoke represents what is leaving. Play soft instrumental music, something without lyrics, nothing distracting but enough to gently fill the space. This music becomes the backdrop for your reconnection. 2. Your body as a temple. Before starting the ritual, take a regular shower, but do it with awareness. As the water runs over your body, say mentally, I'm washing away what no longer serves me. Today, I begin a new cycle. Wear light, comfortable clothing. White symbolizes receptivity. Avoid watches, jewelry, or anything tight or constricting. You're about to connect with lightness, and your body needs to feel it. Sit in front of the basin with your bare feet. Touch the water with your hands. Feel the temperature. Bring your face close and inhale the steam 3 times, as if smelling something sacred. This gesture signals to the brain, now is the moment. 3. Your mind as a channel. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Imagine a golden light descending from the top of your head, passing through your forehead, throat, heart, all the way down to your feet. This light prepares you, grounds you. It pulls you out of autopilot and brings you fully into the present moment. Remember, the ritual doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be real. If you're sad, tired, angry, bring it all. Don't hide. The ritual doesn't ask you to be fine. It only asks you to be whole. In this moment, you can softly say aloud or in your mind, "Today, I give myself permission to let go. Today, I choose to cleanse, protect, and remember who I am." And just before dipping your feet in, Kusho always said, "Don't ask for a miracle, ask for clarity." Because with clarity, the miracle walks in. Now, you are ready. The ritual won't just be a practice, it will be a turning point. And if you made it this far, I invite you to stay with me, because the next step is to feel in the body everything you've only understood with the mind until now. Silence, not the empty kind, but the sacred silence, the kind that only happens when the body decides to finally listen to what the soul has been whispering for ages. You're seated, feet submerged in warm, living, pulsing water. It wraps around your ankles as if it recognizes you, as if it says, "You can rest now." The subtle scent of vinegar rises gently. The salt, invisible, has already begun its quiet work. And the tiny peppercorns rest at the bottom, like awakened sentinels. Now close your eyes. Take a deep breath, really deep, and exhale through your mouth. Slowly, in this moment, everything slows down. Your body no longer carries the same tension. Your mind no longer shouts. It observes. Now visualize. You're standing in front of a mirror, but the reflection you see isn't from today. It's your worn-out reflection, burdened, with eyes that no longer shine and shoulders that have slumped under too much weight. Slowly, that reflection begins to fade like mist in the sun, and behind it you emerge, clean, whole, with the gaze you've always had before the pain. Meanwhile, the water around your feet begins to gently vibrate. It's as if it's absorbing that old reflection and carrying away the exhaustion, the fear, the self-sabotage, the weight of constantly trying and never feeling enough. Feel that release, not as imagination, but as truth. You might notice warmth in your feet, a chill down your back, maybe even a sudden urge to breathe deeper. Do it. Now visualize a golden light being born exactly where your feet touch the water. It begins to rise, touches your ankles, moves up your legs, reaches your abdomen, passes through your heart, and reaches your throat, melting old blockages until it reaches the top of your head. You are in light. You're being reminded of who you've always been, even when the world tried to convince you otherwise. Now repeat within yourself, with conviction, I release the weight. I let go of control. I trust. I am returning to myself. I am safe. I am guided, and abundance flows to me with ease. Stay in silence for a few more minutes. Feel. No rush, no goal, just feel. When you open your eyes, look at the water. Does it seem different? Maybe cloudier, heavier? That's because it took in everything you no longer need to carry. And now it's time to let it go. Stand up slowly. Give thanks in your mind. Take the water outside your home. Pour it into the earth, down the drain, or onto the ground, but do it with intention. And as the water flows away, softly say, "Take what is no longer mine. I keep what belongs to me, lightness, clarity, and power." Come back. Sit down once more. Close your eyes one last time and say to yourself, "I am here, truly. Now I can move forward." After the ritual, something shifts, but don't expect fireworks or miraculous coincidences. The first thing you'll notice is silence within, a quiet peace, a kind of rest that doesn't come from the body. It comes from the soul, as if a part of you, always on alert, finally sat down to breathe. In the days that follow, pay attention. You'll wake up differently. Your thoughts won't shout like before. And when they come, you'll know you can choose what to believe. That's the first victory, clarity. You might notice that money hasn't changed yet, but the way you look at it has. You stop chasing it desperately and begin creating space for it to arrive. And when that energy shifts, the external begins to follow. Kusho used to say, "When the field is clear, the seed sprouts effortlessly." But don't expect a harvest on the same day you plant. And that's why the second ingredient in this process is anticipatory gratitude. Every day when you wake up, repeat to yourself, "Thank you for the peace I already feel. Thank you for the abundance that is on its way. Thank you for the light life that is now possible." The mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. And when you give thanks for something before it arrives, the body acts as if it has already received it. This changes your posture, your tone of voice, your decisions, and that changes your life. Now imagine you a few weeks from now, more grounded, clearer-headed, sleeping better, with small victories unfolding, not because of magic, but because you stopped sabotaging yourself. This is more than a ritual. It's an energetic marker, a point where your frequency shifted, and with it, everything around you, but most importantly, it's a reminder that you don't have to wait until you're on the edge of a breakdown to start taking care of yourself. You can start now, with simple things, with a gesture, with a choice. The foot ritual is symbolic, but what it activates is real. You reconnect with your body, your energy, your essence. And from that place, everything starts to make sense again. It's not about luck. It's about aligning with what you deserve, but had forgotten you were allowed to ask for. So take a deep breath one more time and understand you don't need to change the whole world. You just need to change the place from which you act. And that place is now clear, light, and ready. If this ritual touched something within you, if, even for a few minutes, you truly felt peace, then this video has fulfilled its purpose. Share in the comments. How did you feel during the ritual? Had you ever done something like this before? Your story might be the push someone else needs to start over. And if this content resonated with you, subscribe to the channel now. Not just so you don't miss the next videos, but to be part of a space where what matters isn't miracles, it's awareness. Because when we clear ourselves from within, the outside world starts to respond. Until next time, in peace.